Well, the hated president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled overnight in a military plane. He flew to the Maldives. He's out of the country. He's expected to formally give his resignation in the next few hours. But the story and the struggle are by no means over, because he is almost certain to be succeeded by the Prime Minister, a close associate of his, Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is just as disliked and mistrusted by many of the protesters on the streets as the president who's now gone. So today, far from rejoicing at the departure of President Rajapaksa, large numbers of people gathered in front of the Prime Minister's official office. The Prime Minister wasn't there, we don't know where he is. They effectively kind of laid siege to it. I mean, they weren't using any weapons, but they were surrounding it, jeering, shouting, trying to get in. And after several hours of confrontation, which a lot of tear gas was fired by the security forces effectively gave up. The protesters got in and very peacefully and good-naturedly occupied this Prime Minister's office. So, one leader has gone, but another leader closely associated with him is coming in and taking over. The protest movement continues to mobilize against the new president.
Right, and the Prime Minister standing in has himself been given something of an ultimatum by protesters to get out quickly and make way for a transition. How is the Prime Minister responding to those demands?
Well, he has not shown any sign of giving in or compromising. He announced a state of emergency for the entire country and a curfew in Colombo, the capital. I mean, that really is unenforceable. That there's no way they're going to get everyone to go inside now that the horse has well and truly bolted out of that stable. But I think the point of it is to give the security forces the power, if they want to pick up anyone they choose. Now, so far, these protests have not been marked by deadly violence. Very few people have been seriously injured or killed. And people are very hopeful that will continue. But this state of emergency, the emergency powers, certainly allows the security forces to act much more sternly than they have hitherto.
Right. Just where does this play out? And as far as it's possible to even guess, are we looking at some movement eventually towards some sort of transition of power, or will this new regime, with now the Prime Minister at its head, seek to bed in?
Yeah, I mean, they are actually following the rules. The Constitution says that if the president goes for whatever reason, then his job is taken over by the Prime Minister until Parliament can meet to choose a president to serve out his term, which in this case is another 2 years. Now, that is what's scheduled to happen. So next Wednesday, Parliament will meet and choose a new president. The thing is that President Rajapaksa may have gone, but his party still has a majority in Parliament. So if they all vote, as they might, then there's a good chance that Ranil Wickremesinghe will get elected. The Prime Minister will formally and onwardly be the president. Now, that may be what the Constitution says, but the opinion on the streets, the sentiments of the protesters are very much against that. And that, I think, will not be accepted, and that will galvanize a new push in this protest movement, which so far has been very successful.
The background to all of this is an economic collapse. Can you just give us a sense of what that is like now?
Yeah, I mean, it's very extreme. Everyone talks about it, and it's obvious just on the streets. I mean, I arrived in Colombo late last night, and even just driving in from the airport, at 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, there were long queues of cars, several blocks long, queuing for petrol. There just isn't enough petrol because the government can't afford to buy in stocks. The government is effectively bankrupt. Their debts exceed their capacity to repay them. Imports have shot up in price because the currency has collapsed. Doctors can't get the drugs they need. I was talking to a doctor today who said he's seen patients die of simple infections because they haven't got the antibiotics to treat them. And everyone is complaining about the rise in prices of food, which is affecting everyone, and the power cuts, which have become frequent. So, I mean, this economic crisis is not just one of those economic crises that sort of only exists in statistics. You see it everywhere, and everyone's affected by it.
Richard, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.